famous Searls Library. And for years people have told me that they had just spoken with kindly old Mr. Searls. And I realized, that they meant you because you kind of became the Searls Library. What was it like when you came here?
Well, it's funny, I came here first. Doris Foley, I was introduced to her at a historical society, something or other, and when she found out that I was a retired librarian from San Jose, she said, "Oh, you would probably like to come and work for us one afternoon a week." So that's the way I started. One afternoon I did that for about 8 months, and then Doris decided that I could answer correspondence adequately. She liked the letters that I wrote, so she let me do most of that. And then she announced that she was taking a 2-week leave. That the following spring, taking a 2-week leave, and she said, "You will be in charge." And so I started that 2 weeks, and then I kind of kept to that schedule ever since, and it varied. I went from 3 days a week to 4, and then there was a period in the late 80s and the 90s when I was here 6 days a week because we were struggling, fighting being taken over by the county library system.
I see.
And I had an argument with a couple of the supervisors saying we don't want to be a part of the county library, because the first thing you always cut in a budget time is the library, and we don't want to do that. And so, Fred Searls, Bo, helped me a lot to keep it out of the county. And he didn't want it to be a part of the county library either, naturally, because after all, his grandfather had built this in 1872. No, it's really kind of strange how I got here. I grew up in the Middle West and on California. Well, during the war, I went to school at UC Berkeley for a year, studying, of all things, clinical psychology. But I decided I'd come back to Berkeley after the war to do graduate work, but not in psychology. I did it in English. And then I went, by accident, I was teaching English in Pittsburgh when I got into the library field, and I went to the University of Washington for my master's in librarianship, and then I went to City College at San Jose, and I lived in Los Gatos, and the traffic in the afternoon when I would get off work going from San Jose to Los Gatos was so awful. I'd get home and I'd say, "Well, I made it one more time, but I've got to get out of here." And some friends of mine had this summer cottage, just a 3-room cottage, 2 miles out of town. And they gave me a key to the place so I could come up whether they were here or not. And I was up here one weekend, it was pouring down rain, and I called up Warren Shin, the realtor for that area out there, and I said, "Is this 4-acre plot next door, is it for sale?" And he said, "Yes. You want to look at it?" And I said, "I'm looking at it right now." I was looking out the window. And I went down to his office and just bought it right then, just signed for it right then. And before I got out of his office, a man came in from Santa Barbara who had looked at it 2 weeks before and decided that he wanted it, and I had just signed it just before he got there. I wonder about it. And when I left San Jose and Los Gatos, I said, I want to have a house built out where the trees are so thick grass won't grow, because I'm not going to spend my retirement keeping up a lawn. And so that's why I'm out in the woods, and it's only 2 miles from town. The road is good, and I like it.
As a kid, were you interested in books and libraries and history?
Yeah. Well, I've always been a reader, and my mother was the one that got me involved in music. She was a graduate from a conservatory in piano, and I learned to play piano when I was 5 years old. Yeah, and so I taught music up until I got in the Army. Well, then when I was going to college, for example, I practiced piano 3 hours a day. Well, when I got out of the Army, I'd gone 4 years without touching one, and I said, I can't go through that again, and that's why I went to the English department at Berkeley. Yeah.
What state did you grow up? You say the Midwest, and that's kind of a...
Northwest Missouri. It's 14 miles south of Iowa and 20 miles east of Nebraska.
Oh boy, you're up there in the corner.
Yeah, it's in the very cornermost area. And it gets cold there. I remember once a few summers back when I was back visiting my sister, and she said, do you ever think about coming back here to live? And I said, no.
Cold is something it's nice to get away from. Have you ever regretted coming here to Searls?
Oh no. No, it's a good way to end it. I had to laugh. Last January, I had to renew my driver's license, and I couldn't believe it. And they renewed my driver's license for 5 years, and I said, well, I think that'll be long enough, because I'll be 92 in about 3 weeks. So that should hold me.